So let's get started. This is our New Mexico Restaurant Association call at 3 o'clock on Friday, the 10th of April. And today we have a special guest from Sysco, New Mexico, Frederick Morgan. But before I introduce him, I would like to just talk to you guys about a few things. So one thing we sent out this morning is that we have been sending you a lot of information, but we also wanted to slow down a minute and ask you what you're needing, because, you know, so these phone calls started out, we had hundreds of people. Now we've got fewer and fewer people every day. If this isn't what you need, you please let us know and let us know what you do need. Maybe you're just a little burnt out on Zoom calls. I know I am. So next week, we actually have a plan to go to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday, we're going to have Victoria Gregg from the tourism department talking to us about a survey that they're going to be doing, and why that it's an economic survey and why it's going to be really important during this situation and also after this situation. On Wednesday, we have a mindfulness expert, Michelle Duvall, and she's going to be just talking to us about how to reduce stress in your life right now, how to do things that will help you sleep. And I know we're all just super stressed out. I can't even imagine coming from a restaurant point of view. I mean, I try to do that all the time, is imagine what you guys are going through. And I don't even know if I can imagine that, but I do know you're under a lot of stress. So please find some friends and tell them about this stress reduction webinar. I've seen Michelle in person and I've done webinars with her. She is absolutely wonderful and can give you some great tips to really reduce the stress in your life. So that's next Wednesday. And then on Friday, we have Jonathan Gerhardt from the Environment Department. Jonathan's just kind of entertaining for a bureaucrat. So he'll be here talking to us about some of the things that are going on in the Environment Department and what additional things they're allowing us to do. So we have a survey. We're going to come out with 2 surveys. There's going to be one locally for the tourism department. You'll see that on Monday. And then this one is super important for you guys to talk about or to fill out. This is one that we managed to get over 300,000 people throughout the United States fill this out. This is from the National Restaurant Association, and it made a difference in how the relief effort was done. Now, it's not perfect, and we all know there's problems with the PPP, but this is going to be important for us to fill out and give them the good information. There's, you know, it could be that up to 15% of our members will have gone out of business by the time this is filled out, but it's really important that you fill it out and tell them that you are not just temporarily out of business, but you're considering permanently being out of business. Congress needs to know this so they can get the relief effort and the right relief to us. I really like this tips on cutting non-essential expenses. This was from restaurantowner.com. And, you know, things like talking to your leaseholder, the people that lease your ice machine, you know, the Restaurant Association, we have a copy machine, and we just talked to them about, can they put, you know, these 4 months that we think we're going to be in this situation on the back of our lease. They said, no problem, we've got that, we've got your back, we'll do that for you. We talked to our cleaning folks and the people who deliver our linens and things like that, and they've all been just really wonderful. So don't hesitate to call them. They know what we're going through, and they're going to try to be as helpful as possible. This is the Tourism Department Impact Survey. Again, this is really important for what New Mexico is going to do. So we need to let the Tourism Department know how restaurants are faring right now, because coming out of this, they need to know where their relief efforts need to go. And we know it's got to go into the restaurant industry, but we want to do that right. So please take both of those surveys. I almost hesitated giving both of these to you, but I really need you to take both of those. So without further ado, sorry about that, got a little long-winded there. We have Frederick Morgan of Sysco, New Mexico. And I had seen this Sysco presentation last week, and I asked them to come on and do it for you all because I just think it's really important. Now I'm going to pull up the reason I think this is important. We got this from the Environment Department just earlier this week, April 7th, 2020. And basically it's saying that food establishments can sell convenience items. So I will let Allison, if you think that there's things in this presentation that weren't, because Allison was the one having the conversations with these folks, but if this is not what they meant, please let us know. But I think after seeing that, and then the Sysco presentation, and then this release from the Environment Department, I think it's pretty much right on. So
okay,
again,
I'll weigh in as needed.
Okay, thanks. Frederick, if you want to share your screen, now would be the time.
Certainly will.
And welcome. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. All right, let's get rolling here. First of all, thank you for coming and listening to this. I think you know, right now this industry has been really impacted hard from our side, from the restaurant operator side, and you know, we really need to try to make some lemonade with what we can out of this until such time as things get turned back on again. Just a brief introduction from myself. So I'm the Director of Business Resources at Sysco Food Service of New Mexico, and basically my department handles food shows, handles all customer-facing value-added activities to help customers become more and more successful. And I guess my department couldn't be more relevant at a time like this. So I wanted to kind of take you through some things that we thought through as a corporation and had some ideas throughout. I've been in the food service distribution business for about 23 years. And prior to that, I was a general manager for Lone Star Steakhouse and Saloon. And prior to that, a general manager for Chi-Chi's. So I've spent about 12 years on the operation side and in restaurants. And when we sat down to put this PowerPoint together, we really wanted to do it with the operator in mind and really kind of take it from that angle because that's where the help really needs to be had right now. So on the agenda for today, we're going to have a few topics we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about revenue generating ideas. Pop-up shop is one concept. We're going to talk about where we have some information that customers can get and utilize to create some of these revenue generating concepts. Customers and non-customers alike are welcome to go to foodie.sysco.com, and there's information in there. I'll be going through an example of that here as we get through this presentation. We have Chef Cagle that's going to talk to us a little bit as well, talk about how we're going to launch the concept, the CARES Act that Trump recently signed into play, and then also revenue generating ideas number 2. So there's 2 concepts and they have similar names. So just an FYI on that. Hopefully I'll be able to delineate those for you as well as I can. So really what we tried to do as we thought this through is, you know, the restaurants lost really a channel of business. Patrons coming into the actual establishment and eating, that channel evaporated pretty much overnight. And so we're trying to fill that channel, and will it ever be filled wholly? Doing this, not so much, but it will allow revenue to continue to flow and plus really help employees stay employed and help the business kind of get through until we can get the switch turned back on again. But similar to 9/11, when the towers fell and you know, everything after that was process change, from the hospitals to you know, food service to chains to everything changed when that happened. And I got a feeling with this coronavirus being much larger in scope from economic and also death count than the 9/11, I would anticipate changes coming down, processes, those kinds of things that'll be changing in the very near future. And we just have to be able to adapt to those. And part of that is to kind of think outside of the box. With these pop-up shops in restaurants, you're able to fulfill some of the things that the grocery stores cannot, or are having issues doing so at this particular time. We also want to talk about, we're going to talk as we go through this presentation about takeout and to-go and how important that is, and how important the right look and doing things correctly in that is going to be for you folks as well. And then talk about, selling some products such as eggs, condiments, and bread to the public. So we'll talk about that as well as we go through this. So basically, pop-up shop, what is it? It continues to remain open and create new revenue stream, basically replacing that channel, as I mentioned. Takes care of the staff, keeps them employed, at least managing through the time. Continues to nourish the neighborhood and drive more carry-out business by doing some of this stuff as well. Continue local support with restaurants, obviously shop with smaller crowds, and then alternative way to shop too. And I think that's kind of the niche of this whole thing. And if you don't have social media, or you don't follow it, or you're not involved in it, or you're not ordering online, there couldn't be a better example of a time to do that right now. This is huge, and it will definitely help your concept stay afloat by being able to advertise and connect to people. And Facebook is free. Let's face it, you're getting free advertisement in that arena as well, and others. So what is Pop Shop? I'm going to run a brief video here and let you take a listen.
Hey everybody, Andrew Cagle, Sysco Knoxville. The restaurant business is known for being challenging even in the best of times, and in today's rapidly changing environment, we want to show you a few out-of-the-box ideas that can add some revenue to your establishment while people are coming to get their to-go orders. Let me show you what we've done here. So we've taken basically our stock room, and this could be your dining room, this could be an outside space in front of the dining room, whatever it takes. We have people coming to the restaurant to get their to-go orders. You've got your customers coming in the door. So why not use this occasion to sell them some items that the retail establishments are out of? Beef, eggs, milk, these staples that the retail environment cannot keep up in stock now. You've got them in the back of the house. They're already coming through the front door. So let's use this time to hopefully add on some sales. Well, here we have our dry section, and this could be an assortment. Again, if it was me, I would start with the things I already had in the building. I wouldn't focus on adding a whole lot. You would want to add a few things to give them a good selection, but today we just use the stuff we had in the building. PCs of cereal, Block and Barrel chips, Campbell's soups, bottled water. In the retail environment, it's a different story, but here we have toilet paper, we have paper towels, we have things that people need, bleach. Again, we've got a selection of breads here. People can go through, they can get their bread, they can get their milk and their eggs from you. They're already coming through the door. If you don't have a deli case, I would start with maybe one of those stand-up coolers. Whatever you got around would do. American cheese, milk, center of the plate protein items, and bulk pack like the IQF salmon. People could pick that up, take it home and grill it. They can't get it in the store, let them get it from you. Again, these are just a few ideas that we wanted to show you using the things that you have and help your customers get what they need for their family while you're at it.
So just a quick example of kind of what we're talking about, but also keep in mind that there's variations of this too. They're depending upon your concept. Barbecue concepts might have some pop-up shop items that are very different from perhaps a Mexican restaurant, or different themed restaurants. And so you can really use this to kind of tie into the theme. Cracker Barrel does it with their retail outlet, right in the front of the store when you walk in. It is a restaurant, but they're selling dresses and glasses and all kinds of different things in their CDs I've seen. So they've done it. They've been very, very successful at marketing. And right now there's a really, really good opportunity to be able to plug some of those holes and really keep your restaurant viable. You can have a customer come in for a takeout or a pickup and add some of these items to their order. Saves them time from having to go to the store, especially the older folks right now. It's a trying time for those folks. Going to the grocery store was a way to get out and enjoy the people, and get out a little bit. And now that's been taken from them too. So, you know, this is a great alternative to that. So just a quick, this kind of looks like Venezuela, I think, not too long ago. But you can see there's just a lot of hoarding and people grabbing different things off the shelf. And a lot of the shelves in a lot of our grocery stores are really, really drained right now. The infrastructure for delivering products is strained on that side of the fence. The interesting part is, while we do business with some, you know, companies that the grocery stores do business with, there's a lot that we also do business with that they don't. So we have a larger array, broader spectrum of being able to get products in and move them around the country and get them to our customers to help with that supply chain need. So as you can see, here's another example of one that somebody put up in a little nook in their corner with paper towels, some toilet tissues, some bleach, cereal, grab-and-go chips, bags, those kinds of things. And a great strategic place. You know, in my history with restaurants, we used to have to-go orders packed up at the bar, and the bartender would ring them in and kind of take care of those. And this would be a great item to sit by that area. And also, as they're getting to-go orders, obviously to ask the customers, hey, by the way, we have some paper towels and toilet tissue and bleach. Would you care for any of these today? And kind of make that an add-on order to their products. Here's another idea that we came across that I think is a good one, and this can apply in a couple of different lights, but you can also put combo boxes together, similar to Omaha Beef, you know, how they do their beef kits. Very similar, you can do that too. And I'll get to the labeling piece and all that here momentarily, because I know people are probably wondering about that, so we'll get there here shortly. But I mean, you could really kind of brand these to your restaurant, you know, Cracker Barrel's Country Barbecue Pack, or whatever it may be. You could plug that in and really make these your own. Retail meal kits are another thing that's out there. You know, people are doing fried chicken, green beans, and potatoes in a foil pan for kind of a family dine around. There's also to-go orders, you know, over to the far right that people are doing. And then, you know, even sweets and stuff for the morning time, as you can see in the center. So there's an opportunity to do a great array of things. And also right now is a really good time to be creative and come up with some other ones as well. Here's an example of an Italian grocery store that we put together. And we actually have a church locally that's using this right now. And what they've done is they picked 4 items out of this list. And they put together, they bought some boxes, and they put together meal kits for 500 people, and the church paid for it. And so here's another example. You don't have to use all these items. I would pick 2, 4, 3, 4, somewhere in that area, and make boxes for your customers. Maybe it's a box for a family of 4. Maybe it's another box for a family of 8. You could put 3 or 4 of these out on the shelf as well, and they're all dried items. So for the most part, the ground chuck you'd have to put in the coolers, obviously, but the other stuff is dried, so it can keep into a box. Customer comes in, buys the box, you add the cooler stuff to it, and away they go home. So also on foodie.com, as you can see at the bottom, the web address, and I'll go into that a little bit to kind of show you where this stuff is at, but we've put a lot of work into putting up items in place for pop-up shop. We've actually got 2 concepts going. One's pop-up shop and the other's pop-up stock. And so I'll hopefully get rid of the confusion here shortly, but pop-up shop is just the retail piece that's in the restaurant that opens up and sells various items. And again, as Chef Cagle said in the opening video, you know, it's items that you currently have, that you currently use, you could definitely start with, and then just kind of build around that, depending on your concept and what your restaurant's doing. You could really tie all that together and make a nice tight presentation for your store. So how to set up shop? I mean, you know, in a couple of venues, you're going to want to, move some furniture around to where you have a little bit of room to do this in. You know, utilize the space efficiently, and make sure that you're taking care that the social distancing is still in effect. And sometimes that means going one way down an aisle versus having 2 people go down the same aisle opposite directions. Those kinds of things. Speed racks are great. For this, if you have speed racks, wire shelving, any of those kinds of things can come out. You want, obviously it's going to be in the front of the house, so you're going to want to, make it look somewhat presentable, I would imagine. Basically, You can use existing coolers if you have some empty soda coolers. Those kinds of things are good. Bus tubs for customers to buy, or you can also buy number 55 barrel bags to also do that as well. Creating a safe environment. You want to make sure everything's sanitized and cleaned off, all your door handles, anything that anybody's going to touch right now, you're going to want to make sure that they're taken care of. And then item selection, again, you're going to want to kind of look at your concept and see really what can plug in there. Maybe in Mexican restaurants, the items may be very different than in a steakhouse or than in another type of a restaurant, but really kind of tie back the products that would make sense for you. And remember, work with the items that you have first. In a Mexican restaurant, you have the beans, the rice, those kinds of things, and you're able to do that. In fact, we've had several restaurants that have done that as well. Packaged meat, portion larger pack items, peanut butter, rice. You want to limit some key items for sale like eggs, milk as well, so they don't get hoarded. But just have conversations with them. Make sure you have enough, first in, first out, FIFO that you're turning those products to make sure they're getting the safest and the most wholesome products available. And then customer success stories. We've had several that have tried this and have worked it. Sam's Market. I believe this gentleman's from Indiana, but he's really taken advantage of his social media, as you can see right here. He's got online ordering, suburban locations, call ahead delivery. So he's got all of that. But what he's done, as you can see, there's 4 different concepts across the top there. A couple are bar and grills and a couple are more restaurants. But he's also put together a grocery list for his customers to come in and shop with, and show them what they have available so that they know when they're placing their grocery orders that they can go and pick up a takeout order and also grab some items while they're in the store as well. So here's Sam, and if you can look over to the left, you'll see, he's got some bread out there for folks. He's got, all kinds of condiments and different types of items over here on the right, toilet paper and paper towels towards the back. So he's really using his space. He's got a nice large space that he can allow people to come into where they can keep their social distancing. And again, he's doing some great work on social media. And if I can pop into his Facebook page here. This is it. And again, the Facebook page is pretty important during these times right here. But he communicates with his customers via Facebook, and you can see just the comments that he's getting outside. Keep up the great work, chef. Just out having fun, and he's really being connected to the community, and I think that's an important piece of this too. But he's got more comments down here as well. He's got his call now button up here. He's really set up for success with regards to having folks come in and grab some to-go groceries. If you look on here is another concept. This is the Rusted Silo, and they're in Indiana, Liston, Indiana. And basically what they've done, and I think this is kind of cool too, is they've taken their site, their order online site, and they've done this to it. Put up a nice order pickup information, tells you how to get there. He's put up a nice general store on his space front. So when people come into his restaurant, this is the first thing he sees. They got a little general store up here. Now, there are several menu programs out there that do online stuff like this, and all you got to do is have a conversation with them and find out what they can do to help you. But they can set this up for you. We have, Sysco has a couple that we work with, and I'm sure there's others out there. But this is just an example of what a customer has done, kind of took it out to the next level, which I think is great. So he's got all kinds of different vegetables and protein, and not only that, he's doing some specials here. A virtual cookout, bird in the box, nibbles, barbecue meat Sammy's. So he's got, sandwiches with different things on here that he's advertising in here as well. Brisket plates, he's already, selling to-go plates for people as well. So he's done a really nice job of tying together what his offerings are along with this grocery store piece. And never forget the sweets. Gotta love pecan pie. So, these are all available for his customers to come in and pick up and take home with them. He's done a really nice job laying that out. And again, it doesn't have to be this fancy. It could be 10 or 12 items out there as well. But he's taken this and embraced it, and he's actually doing pretty well with it. The other thing to really kind of think about right now is your takeout program. And, you know, I was the other day, I ordered a takeout steak dinner, and I got the steak and the potatoes in a nice, you know, black container with a clear top, really fancy looking to-go packaging. But then the salad and everything else was shoved into styrofoam squat cups with foil over the top of it. And it just didn't match. It didn't match the concept. The concept was a high-end steakhouse. So, I mean, you're talking $40, $50, $60 a plate in some cases, but that's how they're passing to-goes out. And, you know, a lot of people, when they get to-go orders, especially the older folks nowadays, they take the microwavable containers and the cups, and they're using those again. I do it with, you know, like logoed cups, plastic cups. Plastic cups are harder to throw out than regular cups. You tend to kind of hang on to them at home, you know, for the garden, for outside work, whatever you're doing. And that's a great place that customer has a reminder of you. So your to-go program, some of the packaging does cost a little bit more, but build it into the price. It's worth it. It's worth the customer not spilling, you know, red enchilada sauce on their seats when they go home with their product. It's worth the look when they pull it out and they go, wow, this place really thought this through. But this is a good opportunity to get 20,000 feet in the air on your to-go pickup programs and really make them effective. And you know, prior to this coronavirus, COVID-19, prior to that, all this even happening, people were going to meal prep, meal planning, making meals through the week, because husbands and wives are very busy working, and they don't have time to come home and cook, and they're dealing with the kids and everything else when they get home. So it's nice to be able to swing by, pick up some great to-go. And you know, I'm telling you, the to-go packaging makes such a difference in presentation, and, you know, getting the food to the other end that looks the same way that they would get it on the plate, or at least maybe even a little bit better in some cases. But really, I think people need to take their takeout programs a little bit seriously and really kind of delve into that, because as you can see right now, that's a big deal, and it always will be a big deal. It will continue to be a big deal as the times roll forward. So more and more people are using, you know, Uber Eats, DoorDash, those kinds of things. And the other thing with using those kind of companies, they're great. Those third-party delivery services are great, but also when they're also taking items from your restaurant in your packaging and taking them to the customer. So, you know, I'm kind of hungry. I might as well take a couple fries out of the styrofoam container, or take a couple pieces of pepperoni off the pizza, you know, those kinds of things. So you really want to kind of make sure your to-go packaging is wholesome, and making sure the food is getting from point A to point B, regardless of who's taking it to that customer, because this is your name, your signature, when you drop that off. So at Sysco, we have marketing services. We have 35 graphic artists throughout the United States in various states, and we use them all at different times. It's all electronic now, so we can use all 35 of them. It doesn't really matter where you are. But typically, we require $2,500 a week purchases from our customers to do their menus for no charge. We build their menus. We go through and we menu engineer so that profitable items are getting, you know, put in certain areas to help drive profitability in the restaurants. So there's a lot of things that we do for that. But right now, that $2,500 is being waived, and we're really focusing on creating limited time menus and carry out and delivery menus that can be immediately done and printed and in your hands to work. So the graphic artists, what they'll do is they'll work with you on the concept of what your restaurant is. They'll put food pictures, they'll do everything for you, and they'll send you the file. And you can take that to Kinko's or to Staples and have that printed as well. And again, this is if you're a customer of ours that we do this for. So next this is what we talked about in the slides, a couple slides ahead, that had to do with nutritional labeling requirements. The FDA, as you can see, that last sentence that's highlighted in bold, FDA does not intend to object to the sale of packaged food, both perishable and non-perishable, that lacks nutrition facts, labels by restaurants, provided that the food does not have any nutritional claims and contains other required information on the label, including the following. So down below is kind of what they're wanting on the packaged items. So a couple of things to this. prior to this happening, there was absolutely no repackaging, period. Because of the coronavirus and because of the demand to keep people fed, the grocery stores are having trouble getting food. They relaxed some of these standards to allow this to happen. The bottom line, I always put this in here, check with your local regulatory agencies before adopting the practice. Very important, because we deal with 4 states here. We've got Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and Arizona. And all 4 of them have obviously fall under the federal law, but then they also have state laws, and then also municipal laws and local laws and everything else. So I know in New Mexico we're good with this, but if you're in Texas, Colorado, or Arizona, you may want to just double check what the requirements are. There was an issue in California with a person that put up one of these, and what the issue ended up amounting to was the fact that the weight and measures hadn't been calibrated and signed off on for the restaurant to sell meat by the pound, but they were able to sell it by the each. So there are some things out there that could happen that way. So it's a very good idea to become informed. There is a website you can go to, govinfo.gov, and it'll list all that information out to you. And you can go through and do it. But I guess the easy rule of thumb to remember on this is, prior to the outbreak, you couldn't repackage anything food service into retail and sell it. Now their stance is basically, and this is a good way and an easy way to remember this, repackaging is allowed if the items are vacuum packed or individually packaged within the case. So if you have a case and you have individually, like you see on the screen here, pork butts or shoulders or pork chops or whatever, and they're cryovac, you can definitely resell those, no problem. If you have a 40-pound box of chicken and you're trying to portion out 2-pound bags, that's a no-no. You need to buy chicken that's already packaged in vacuum or individually packaged to be able to resell that chicken. And that's true with any of the other items as well. So the best way to remember that is that if it comes sealed and packaged individually in the case, it's probably a good chance that you can sell that without an issue. The other thing that we talked about earlier with Trump signing the CARES Act, there's some yum-yums in here for restaurant owners to keep their staff and really try to maintain the status quo, I guess, for now, until we get the switch thrown back on with the economy. But there's some help out there that restaurant owners need to be aware of, and also to help their employees. It's so important right now that you do this and look up the CARES Act. Sysco is also doing some help for restaurants with the CARES Act to be able to get information to you folks as well. But in a nutshell, payroll protection programs out there, emergency increase on unemployment compensation benefits. That's huge right now for a lot of us. Modification of limitations on charitable contributions, delay of payment on employer payroll taxes, and paid leave for rehired employees. So there's a lot of things out here that you would not normally get. In 2008, when the housing market crashed and everybody was scrambling and sales went down, none of this stuff was offered. And this is an amazing feat to really help the small business operator stay afloat and keep rolling with the times until we can get this thing turned around. So if you don't, please look this up. Reach out to any of us, Carol, myself. Be happy to get you, the information, or at least direct you to the website to be able to get you started. But there are a lot of things out there to take advantage of. The other concept that we have that I want to talk about, and hopefully I'm not going to confuse you too bad. That's why I put it at the very, very bottom. But so at the top, we talked about pop-up shop, which is basically just creating a retail store within your restaurant. This is called pop-up stock-up, which is a little bit different. Very similar names, but this one's a little bit different. The pop-up stock-up on the right basically is an event that you would put on for your customers. So you would say, hey, we're going to have a bulk food event coming up with restaurant quality groceries that you can order in advance. You would sit down with the salesperson or yourself and go through a list of items that you could potentially bring in. 50-pound beans, 50-pound rice, 15 dozen eggs, 4 gallons of milk, those kinds of things. And you would have an employee in your establishment reach out to customers via social media, calling them, whatever it may be, pick up orders and just say, hey, we're having this event on April 27th. You're able to come in and bulk buy on all of these items. Does this have your interest? Yes, it does. Okay, what would you like? And you would take a pre-order for these items, hand it off to your salesperson, and they, a couple days prior to the event, and they would help you get the items in. And then as the customers would come pick them up, once they're ready, you would call them and say, come pick up your items. It's curbside delivery. They would stop by, you'd be able to come out with the beans, the rice, the eggs, whatever they've ordered, and place it in their car and help them deliver it. That's just one option. There's a couple other options. You may want, you could buy 20 cases of everything, beans, rice, eggs, and then just sell them until they run out and have an event where you're selling bulk items. But this is just another way to kind of get your customers thinking about it. You can tie it in with a pop-up shop retail outlet in your stores. You can do both of them at the same time. You can do one or do the other. It all kind of depends on your concept and how you're structured. But as you do them, you're going to want to make sure that you keep in mind the social distancing piece, the curbside delivery, what employees are going to do what, and how you're going to manage the flow of the information to make sure that the customers get what they're asking for. So that's another concept that we just started working with some of our customers on, and they're pretty excited about it right now. We've had 5 or 6 local wins in this, so that people are looking at this going, hey, this is an option. And if you tie the two together, the shop and the stock up, you're going to have a little retail outlet that, your retail outlet's set up full time, and your stock up would be, maybe you'd run it once every other week, or maybe you'd run it, once a week for that matter, and allow the customers to come on in and get their items. And again, it's restaurant quality food. Concept introduction, just the overall concept is we're helping customers host a limited time promotional event. This could be done in addition to delivery and takeout. I would say absolutely, you betcha. It's a complement to it. And concept can be run even if the customer is temporarily closed. So even if your store is shut down now, you can still do this and just work on selling bulk items out of your store for now, instead of the regular menu that you would normally sell when this isn't going on. Customer benefits, obviously, you're helping the customer replace lost revenue. Our customers, you restaurateurs, increase opportunities for our customers to employ their staff. So basically keeping folks employed again and provide opportunities to feed their communities. And the big part about this is the community doesn't forget things like this, and they remember that El Farrell helped me out during a time of need, or whatever the case is, and they're going to tend to patronize you and remember these kinds of things. We're gonna be able to help support the local restaurants in the market. People don't want to go to the grocery stores anymore. They're a pain in the butt. I know a couple of them have crime scene tape and shopping carts tipped upside down to steer people like cattle through their entryways. They don't want to do that, especially the older folks. An alternative way to shop with products and offer more availability than what the current grocery store does. And not only that, items that the grocery stores don't typically have, boxed beef kits and those kinds of things that you guys could do. It's huge to help the customers and to help the folks out in the community stay fed and keep you going with sales as well. So how do you host a pop-up stock-up event? So you can decide again, by working with your salesperson, or if this is something you're doing that you're not with Sysco, kind of decide if if the COP items, produce items, any of those things, or anything that you come up with. It doesn't have to be exclusive to any of those. You can come up with your own. Pick a promotional day event. You're going to want to do a 1 or 2 days. I've even talked to some folks that they wanted to do it over the weekend, which 2 days is fine. Create a marketing plan, social media, emails, posters, those kinds of things, which we have available on our site for both customers and non-customers alike. Take pre-orders over the phone. Again, get your employees engaged. And the day of the event, make sure you got the label requirements. And I've got a sheet that has some of that I can get to Carol, and she can get that to you. It's right here. Talks about label guidance, what needs to be on the box, what doesn't. In this current environment, this was designed just for this. But that's out there to help you to make sure that you're staying consistent with what's being asked in the food service world. And then again, the day of the event, make sure the social distancing requirements are in order. Just real quick too, this information, if you're not a member of our Facebook page, I would recommend it. Sysco Food Service of New Mexico is our Facebook page. There is another one out there. I don't know if somebody created it or popped up. I'm not exactly sure, but that is not the right one. This one is Sysco Food Service of New Mexico. Get in there, like us, and then you're going to get information like this talking about foodie, what's going on with COVID. I mean, NMRA does a great job setting that stuff out too. You're going to get the distributor perspective of it as well. So it's a good idea to pop in there and become a friend of ours, if you would. And then tools and references that are available, or excuse me, tools and resources that are available. So there's been a lot of templates that have been loaded into our sites, and you guys are welcome to use them, whether you're a customer or not. I mean, obviously we'd like you to be, but if you're not, that's okay too. We want to help the industry. That's the goal of this. And basically there's all kinds of templates in there to help guide you through some of these. I'm going to pop into the foodie real quick so everybody can kind of know where these items are located when you jump in. So real simple address, foodie.sysco.com. It's going to bring you to this landing page right here. And if you scroll down a little bit, it's kind of towards the middle of the page. You're going to see COVID-19 and food service. So these 4 boxes are really dialed up to help us help you in this time. And if you go into the COVID-19, how to continue your business, you're going to find, and everything I just talked about, all of the information templates are there. Download a letter to display to customers, download a letter for, delivery curbside. So all these are templates that are out there. A poster to avoid contamination. So there's information about that out there. There's what experts are saying about it. So you can click into any of these sites. Some of them are PowerPoints and some of them are just PDF files like this. And then as you go down, it just continues on. So the first part will talk about pop-up shop and some information about that. And as you scroll down further and further and further, you're going to find the other concept that we have, and that's the pop-up stock-up event. And that also has its own editable sample menus. It's got a social media toolkit to help you with Facebook and Facebook posts, what good ones look like, how to get the customer engaged, your customer engaged. So that's a real important piece. And so a lot of these templates and stuff are already done for you to help you. So you're welcome to go into those and check through them. Our salespeople actually have some more that they can help you with, some larger poster size ones and other things too. But these are all available to anybody that wants to use them and develop one of these concepts or both for that matter. And so anyway, if you have any questions, I guess we can take a little bit of time for that. Check the chat function and see if we have anything for that.
Frederick, this is Allison Smith. I'm the lobbyist for the association.
Hi.
And hi, great presentation, by the way. I just wanted to echo a few things based on the phone calls I've had with the Environment Department. And that is definitely, and you've said this a number of times through your presentation, and that is definitely you have to keep the physical distancing, social distancing part to this. And then keep in mind, you still have to limit only, I believe it's 5 people inside your store at any one time. So we really need to make sure that you follow those guidelines. And one of the things the secretary did caution me on, he said, with this expanded sales opportunities that they are allowing will also come expanded accountability. So I just want you all to be kind of forewarned on that. I don't want to scare anybody. I want everyone to take advantage and do, what we are now being allowed to do. But I just want to make sure that you all understand that there's going to be a little increased accountability to get to be able to do this. So.
Thank you very much. And there was a question out there about, I have a prime vendor contract with another vendor. How would using a Sysco pop-up shop work for me? Bottom line on that one is it's a concept, right? So A couple of things. It depends. There's a lot of prime vendor contracts out there that are associated with group purchasing organizations, Sodexo, Marriott, those kinds of things. There's items that they buy regularly that they can use for a pop-up shop. If you're in a restaurant that's not doing business with us and you're doing business with another vendor, it's the same thing. You can set up a corner shop with their products. I mean, obviously, we'd like you to use ours, but if not, again, we're here for the industry. And what I would recommend is setting up a little corner nook, and then some of the items that you currently buy, take an inventory of those and decide what items that customers most likely need. And typically it's sanitizers, paper goods, disposables, chips, handheld items like that that can complement. So you can do that. There are templates in Foodie that you can utilize. Some of them, I think most of them have Sysco on them, but you can definitely take that and convert it to whatever you'd like. But that would be a way to do that. Hopefully that answers your question.
Frederick, I certainly appreciate that. And, one of the reasons Sysco is here is because they had this, and I've been thinking about it, especially in rural neighborhoods or in rural areas. You may be the only place in your neighborhood, from what I understand, Allison, in Gallup, the Walmart there is the busiest Walmart in the United States. Just heard that the other day. And
That would make sense.
yeah, you can imagine the spread of the virus if you're having to shop with that many other people. So if, you have the ability to be that neighborhood market for your neighborhood, I think it's just the way to go and the right thing to do. One thing I do want to mention is that, we are used to pricing our goods as a restaurant and not a grocery store. So keep in mind that you really are now in competition with a grocery store, and you can't charge as much for food that's not cooked as you do for food that's cooked. So
And also on that point, Carol,
Yeah.
if I can pop in, we also have to keep in mind the hoarding issues. So we cannot allow customers to come in and just buy up all of your toilet paper. So you will have to also follow kind of what the grocery stores are following as far as those guidelines as well.
Right. So don't overcharge. I think it's been years now that people have been telling me, look at the grocery stores. They're selling restaurant food, and, well, for one, they're not paying gross receipts tax. And we think if it's prepared, they're supposed to be paying gross receipts tax, but we don't necessarily know that that's a fact. So now I want you guys to get out there and go in competition with the grocery stores. That's what I need you to do just to stay in business. And I think folks are really trying to find ways to support restaurants. And I think this is one of those ways that you can go out there and be that community-minded restaurant and say, we're gonna sell toilet paper for a decent price. Now, don't overprice it. Again, no gouging. Oh, that's a really good question. Would we have to pay gross receipts tax on those items?
I don't know the answer to that. I would imagine at this point, you're not set up as a grocery store. So yeah, I would imagine you're still charging gross receipts tax.
You know what? We'll try to get clarification on that, but I do think, just for safety's sake, charge the gross receipts tax on those items. People don't really notice it necessarily, and they're not going to not come to you because you charge gross receipts tax. Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, you guys are always welcome to unmute yourself. Seeing none, Frederick, I think this is just such a great idea, and I really appreciate you sharing it with my members. We do record these, we put them up on our website, and so other people can see them that might not have been able to be on today. And I'm excited for everybody to go out and really try to start competing with grocery stores. We need you right now. We need the items that you can get to us. And thanks, everybody. I want to thank you all for being here. Frederick, do you have any parting words?
Stay food service strong, folks. We're going to get through this, and we'll get on the other end of it. But until then, we're here to help you. Anything we can do. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Frederick, and thanks, everybody. Remember, next week, Monday, is the tourism department is going to talk to us about some of the things that they're doing research-wise. So be sure and be on at 3. We'll be here for you. See you then. Bye-bye.